Star Wars arrived in 1977 and did something no film had ever quite done before. It turned a galaxy far, far away into somewhere that felt more real than the world outside the theater. Over the decades, we have said goodbye to many of the extraordinary people who built that world, and today, we remember every single one of them. Number 1, we have Kenny Baker, who played R2-D2. He was 44 years old when he first stepped inside the R2-D2 unit in 1977, bringing the galaxy's most beloved droid to life through nothing but physical performance and the kind of expressiveness that made audiences completely forget there was a human being inside that metal shell. Standing at 3 feet 8 inches tall, so he reprised the role across 6 Star Wars films and became one of the most recognized figures in the entire franchise, despite never once showing his face on screen. He was married to actress Eileen Baker from 1970 until her death in 1993, and the couple had 2 children together, a love story cut far too short that left him carrying her memory through every Star Wars appearance that followed. Kenny Baker passed away on August 13, 2016, at 81 years old, from a long-term lung condition that had been slowly taking its toll for several years. Number 2, we have Peter Cushing, who played Grand Moff Tarkin. He was 63 years old when he played the cold and calculating Imperial commander who stood aboard the Death Star and issued orders with such chilling authority that audiences believed completely in his power over the most destructive weapon in the galaxy. His career spanned decades across horror, science fiction, and drama, but his personal life told a story far more moving than any role he ever played. He was devoted entirely to his wife Helen Beck from 1943 until her death in 1971. And by many accounts never truly recovered from losing her, spending his remaining years surrounded by her photographs and deeply missing her every single day. He had been diagnosed with prostate cancer back in 1982 and lived with it for 12 extraordinary years without surgery. Peter Cushing passed away on August 11, 1994, at 81 years old. Number 3, we have Alec Guinness, who played Obi-Wan Kenobi. He was 62 years old when he brought Obi-Wan Kenobi to the screen, lending the wise old Jedi Master the kind of quiet gravitas that only decades of extraordinary stage and screen work could produce, giving the character a depth and dignity that emotionally anchored the entire original trilogy. He was famously ambivalent about his role in Star Wars despite its enormous success, once writing in his diary that he found the film rather tedious, which makes the warmth audiences still feel toward his performance all the more remarkable. He was married to Marula Salomon from 1938 right through to his death, a partnership of over 60 years, and in one of the most heartbreaking footnotes on this entire list, she passed away from liver cancer just 2 months after him. Yes, Alec Guinness passed away on August 5, 2000, at 86 years old from liver cancer. Number 4, we have Jack Purvis, who played the Chief Jawa. He was 39 years old when he played the Chief Jawa, part of the mysterious desert scavengers, whose glowing eyes and distinctive robes became one of the most memorable visual elements of Tatooine. And he reprised roles in the franchise, including Return of the Jedi, with the same committed physical performance craft every single time. His life took a devastating turn in 1991 when he was working on his car and the brakes failed, causing the vehicle to roll back and crush him against a wall, leaving him paralyzed with tetraplegia for the rest of his life. He was married and had a daughter named Katie Purvis, who carried on the family's connection to Star Wars by performing as an Ewok in Return of the Jedi. A remarkable generational thread running quietly through the heart of the franchise. Jack Purvis passed away on November 11, 1997, at just 60 years old from complications related to his paralysis. Number 5, we have William Hootkins, who played Red 6 Jack Porkins. He was 28 years old when he played the brave rebel pilot whose heroic last stand during the Battle of Yavin gave the sequence one of its most human and affecting moments, a brief role that audiences never forgot no matter how many times they rewatched the film. Beyond Star Wars, he built a solid career across Raiders of the Lost Ark, Batman, and Flash Gordon, becoming a genuinely talented character actor across 3 decades on both sides of the Atlantic. His personal life saw him married twice, and in a deeply moving final chapter, he married Carolyn Robb just months before his death in July 2005, choosing love and commitment even at the very end. He had been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer earlier that year, which also forced the cancellation of a planned Broadway run for his celebrated play Hitchcock Blonde. William Hootkins passed away on October 23, 2005, at just 57 years old. Number 6, we have Peter Mayhew, who played Chewbacca. He was 32 years old when he first suited up as Chewbacca, the towering Wookiee whose loyalty, humor, and unmistakable roar made him one of the most beloved characters in cinematic history. A performance built entirely on physicality and heart without a single recognizable word of dialogue across the entire original trilogy. Standing at 7 feet 3 inches tall, he brought a warmth and gentleness to the character that came directly from who he was as a person. And everyone who worked alongside him consistently described him as one of the kindest human beings they had ever encountered on any film set anywhere. He is survived by his wife Angie Mayhew and their 3 children, a family that clearly meant everything to him through his later years when various health issues, including spinal surgery, began to slow him down considerably. Peter Mayhew passed away on April 30th, 2019, at 74 years old, from a heart attack at his home in Texas. Number 7, we have David Prowse, who played the body of Darth Vader. He was 41 years old when he first put on the iconic black helmet and suit, giving the most feared villain in cinema history the imposing physical presence and deliberate menacing movement that made audiences genuinely terrified every single time he walked into a scene. His relationship with Lucasfilm was deeply complicated by the fact that his voice was replaced by James Earl Jones without prior warning, and he was banned from official Star Wars events for years. A painful situation that generated ongoing controversy among fans who felt he deserved far more recognition for his foundational contribution to the character. He was married to Norma Scammell from 1963 right until his death, and the couple had 3 children together, a devoted and stable family life that ran quietly alongside all the Hollywood drama. In his later years, he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. David Prowse passed away on November 28th, or 2020, at 85 years old from complications related to COVID-19. Number 8, we have Angus MacInnes, who played Gold Leader. He was 29 years old when he played Gold Leader John Dutch Vander, the commander of Gold Squadron whose calm and determined presence during the Battle of Yavin gave that entire sequence an emotional weight that audiences felt even in the middle of all the chaos and explosions happening around him. After Star Wars, he built an impressive career spanning over 80 film and television productions, appearing in The Hunt for Red October, The Living Daylights, and numerous other projects across 4 decades that proved he was far more than a single memorable role. Away from the cameras, he was a devoted family man described by his family after his passing as a beloved husband, father, and grandfather. And he famously owned and operated Mama's American Pizza restaurant in Edinburgh, Scotland, which became a local institution and a genuine point of pride for him. Angus MacInnes passed away on December 23, 2024, at 77 years old, peacefully surrounded by his family. Number 9, we have Shane Rimmer, who played the Rebel technician. He was 47 years old when he appeared as the Rebel crew chief, one of those supporting presences that gave the Rebel Alliance its sense of being a real functioning military operation rather than just a collection of heroes. And his natural authority in the role came from decades of experience working across some of the biggest productions in Hollywood and British cinema. Before Star Wars, he had already appeared in Doctor Strangelove and Thunderbirds, and after it, he continued building a remarkably varied body of work that kept him consistently employed and consistently respected well into his later years. In his personal life, he was married to Sheila Logan from 1963 right until his death, a devoted partnership of over 5 decades through which they raised 3 sons together. Over the kind of quiet and enduring love story that rarely makes headlines but speaks volumes about a person's character. Shane Rimmer passed away on March 29, 2019, at 89 years old from natural causes. Number 10, we have Richard LeParmentier, who played General Motti. He was 30 years old when he delivered one of the most memorable moments in the entire film, playing the Imperial officer, arrogant enough to challenge Darth Vader directly, and paying for it immediately in the scene that introduced the world to the Force choke, a 10-second exchange that audiences have been quoting and referencing ever since. After Star Wars, he continued working in film and television across multiple decades, and his personal life included a marriage to actress Sarah Douglas, best known as Ursa in Superman, from 1981 to 1984, on a Hollywood pairing that brought 2 recognizable genre faces together before they eventually parted ways. He later married Cheryl LeParmentier, and the couple had 3 children together, building a family life in Texas that clearly meant a great deal to him in his final years. His death was completely sudden and unexpected while visiting family in Austin. Richard LeParmentier passed away on April 15, 2013, at 66 years old. Number 11, we have Malcolm Tierney, who played Lieutenant Shan Childson. He was 38 years old when he played the Imperial Detention Block officer, whose brief confrontation with a disguised Luke Skywalker and Han Solo gave that beloved rescue sequence one of its funniest and most tense moments. The kind of small role that lodged itself permanently in the memory of everyone who grew up watching this film again and again. Beyond Star Wars, he built a long and highly respected career primarily across British television and theater, playing a wide range of characters across multiple decades and earning genuine admiration from colleagues as a thoroughly dedicated and technically accomplished performer throughout his entire working life. In his personal life, he married Andrea Schinko in 1979, and the couple had 2 children together, a stable and devoted family foundation that ran alongside his busy professional career across the decades that followed. Malcolm Tierney passed away on February 18, 2014, at 75 years old from pulmonary fibrosis, a condition that causes progressive and painful scarring of the lung tissue. Number 12. We have Peter Sumner, who played Lieutenant Paul Tatum. He was 34 years old when he played the Imperial officer stationed at the Death Star's detention level, part of the Imperial machinery that made the whole facility feel genuinely oppressive and dangerous. And his performance contributed to the sense that every single corridor of that battle station was staffed by people who would not hesitate for a second. He was one of Australia's most respected working actors, building a long career across Australian television and film that earned him consistent recognition at home, even while his Star Wars connection brought him international attention at fan conventions and retrospectives in his later years. He was a devoted family man survived by his wife Linda Stoner and their 3 children. And in a remarkable footnote, his path to the role came while he was traveling with his family in England at exactly the right moment. Peter Sumner passed away on November 22, 2016, at 74 years old, following a long illness. Number 13, we have Alan Harris, who played multiple roles including Bossk. He was 38 years old when he first appeared in Star Wars, going on to play multiple characters across the franchise, including the reptilian bounty hunter Bossk in The Empire Strikes Back, becoming one of those behind-the-scenes fixtures whose total contribution to the Star Wars universe was considerably larger than any single credit suggested. He was beloved across the fan convention community and consistently described by colleagues including Jeremy Bulloch as a true gentleman in every sense. He's someone who showed up with warmth and generosity every single time, regardless of the size of the event or the size of the crowd. His battle with lung cancer was diagnosed in 2018, and he faced it while continuing to engage with the fan community that had always meant so much to him right up until the very end of his life. Alan Harris passed away on January 25, 2020, at 81 years old in England. Number 14, we have Maria de Aragon, who played Greedo. She was 34 years old when she stepped into the Greedo costume for the reshoots of the infamous Mos Eisley Cantina scene, becoming permanently woven into one of the most debated moments in cinema history, the question of whether Han or Greedo shot first, a controversy that has genuinely never died down across nearly 5 decades of passionate fan discussion. Born in Spain and raised in the United States, she built a career across film and television through the 1960s and 1970s and was always warmly humorous about her Star Wars connection, famously joking in interviews and at fan conventions that Harrison Ford kills her every single time, a line that always got the laugh it deserved. In her later years, she left behind a family in Canada who clearly adored her, and she remained connected to the Star Wars fan community until her health declined. Maria de Aragon passed away on April 30th, 2024, at 81 years old from natural causes in a nursing home in Montreal. Number 15, we have Peter Diamond, who played the stormtrooper and stunt performer. He was 47 years old when he appeared in Star Wars, so contributing not just as a performer, but as one of the key stunt coordinators whose work shaped the physical language of the entire film, choreographing lightsaber duels and action sequences that became some of the most iconic moments in cinema history. He had been working as a stunt performer and actor since the 1950s, appearing in Lawrence of Arabia, the James Bond series, and dozens of other major productions, building a reputation as one of the most trusted and skilled stunt professionals in the British film industry across an extraordinary 5-decade career. In his personal life, he was married to his wife Olga for 50 years, and the couple raised 6 sons together, a devoted and deeply rooted family life that his colleagues always spoke about with enormous admiration and warmth. Peter Diamond passed away on March 27, 2004, at 74 years old, from a severe stroke he suffered while driving home from a film set. Number 16, we have Phil Brown, who played Uncle Owen Lars. He was 60 years old when he played the stern but deeply loving guardian who raised Luke Skywalker on the dusty plains of Tatooine, a role whose emotional weight only truly lands on repeat viewings when you understand exactly what Owen was protecting Luke from and how much that protection ultimately cost him. Before Star Wars, his career had already spanned decades, including a notable appearance in The Bridge on the River Kwai. But his Hollywood story carried a painful chapter that had nothing to do with film when he was blacklisted during the McCarthy era in the 1950s, a period that effectively derailed his American career and forced him to rebuild from scratch in Europe. He was married to Ginny Brown for over 60 years until his death, on one of the longest and most devoted partnerships on this entire list. A love story that quietly outlasted everything Hollywood ever threw at either of them. Phil Brown passed away on February 9, 2006, at 89 years old, from pneumonia. Number 17, we have Carrie Fisher, who played Princess Leia Organa. She was just 19 years old when she walked onto that white corridor, recorded a holographic message into a small droid, and created one of the most iconic characters in the history of cinema, a princess who carried a blaster and never once waited to be rescued. Her personal life was as dramatic and honest as anything she ever put on screen. During the filming of A New Hope, she had a whirlwind affair with co-star Harrison Ford, a revelation she shared publicly in her memoir decades later. And she was briefly married to musician Paul Simon from 1983 to 1984, and later had a long-term relationship with talent agent Brian Lord, with whom she had her daughter actress Billie Lord. She battled addiction and bipolar disorder with remarkable and very public honesty, becoming one of Hollywood's most powerful advocates for mental health awareness throughout her later years. Carrie Fisher passed away on December 27, 2016, at just 60 years old, from a sudden cardiac arrest 4 days after collapsing on a flight from London to Los Angeles. Number 18, we have Shelagh Fraser, who played Aunt Beru Lars. She was 55 years old when she played the gentle and quietly heartbroken aunt who raised Luke alongside Owen, a character whose final moments in the film hit harder than almost anything else in the entire story, precisely because of the warmth and tenderness Fraser had packed into every small scene that came before it. She built her career primarily across British television and stage throughout the 1950s and 1960s, earning consistent respect as a reliable and thoroughly committed performer who brought genuine feeling to every role, regardless of its size or its screen time. In her personal life, she was married to and later divorced from actor and director Anthony Squire, a relationship that connected her deeply to the theatrical world she had devoted her entire working life to building a place within. Shelagh Fraser passed away on August 29, 2000, at 79 years old, following a lengthy illness, passing peacefully in her sleep after being seriously ill for some time. Number 19, we have Eddie Byrne, who played General Willard. He was 64 years old when he played the rebel officer whose relief at the destruction of the Death Star gave that final scene a warmth and release that audiences felt completely alongside the characters celebrating around him. A small role delivered with the kind of natural ease that only comes from decades of genuine craft. Born in Dublin, he built a long and respected career across British and Irish film and television throughout the 1950s and 1960s, becoming a familiar and trusted face across a range of productions that demonstrated a range far beyond what any single role could ever properly represent. In his personal life, he was married to Kitty Thwillier, and the couple raised 4 children together, building a full and devoted family life rooted in Dublin that ran alongside a professional career taking him back and forth across the Irish Sea throughout his busiest working years. Eddie Byrne passed away on August 21, 1981, at just 70 years old from a stroke in Dublin. Number 20, we have Alec McCrindle, who played General Jan Dodonna. He was 64 years old when he stood before the assembled rebel pilots and delivered the briefing that sent them racing toward the Death Star. A quiet and authoritative performance that gave the entire climactic sequence its sense of genuine military gravity and made the stakes of that desperate mission feel completely real. He was a deeply respected figure across British theater and television throughout a career spanning several decades, on building a reputation as a thoroughly dedicated performer whose commitment to the craft never wavered regardless of whether the role was large or small or somewhere in between. His personal life saw him married twice, first to novelist Honor Arundel and later to a woman named Sandy, 2 relationships that placed him at the heart of creative and artistic communities throughout the most productive decades of his remarkable life. Alec McCrindle passed away on April 20, 1990, at 78 years old, following a short illness. Number 21, we have James Earl Jones, who voiced Darth Vader. He was 45 years old when he recorded the voice that would become arguably the single most recognizable sound in the history of cinema, and a deep, resonant authority that transformed the already imposing physical presence of Darth Vader into something that felt genuinely unstoppable and made audiences lean back in their seats every single time he spoke. His career extended far beyond Star Wars through Conan the Barbarian, Field of Dreams, The Lion King as Mufasa, and Coming to America, building one of the most celebrated bodies of work in American entertainment history across 7 extraordinary decades. In his personal life, he was married twice, first to actress Julianne Marie from 1968 to 1972, and then to actress Cecilia Hart from 1982 until her death in 2016, with whom he had one son, Flynn Earl Jones. James Earl Jones passed away on September 9, 2024, at 93 years old, from natural causes at his home in Pawling, New York. Number 22, we have Ted Burnett, who played Wu Hare, the cantina bartender. He was 49 years old when he played the gruff and deeply unimpressed bartender of the Mos Eisley Cantina, presiding over one of the most visually spectacular alien gatherings ever put on film, with the kind of world-weary indifference that made the whole scene feel like this was simply another Tuesday night in the most dangerous city on Tatooine. He appeared in very few other productions throughout his career, keeping a low profile in the industry and an even lower profile in his personal life, with almost no public record of marriages, relationships, or the details of his private world across the decades following his appearance in the film. What he left behind was one face in one scene in one corner of a galaxy far, far away, but that scene became one of the most beloved in the entire franchise, and his place in it is permanent. Ted Burnett passed away on October 1, 2001, at 74 years old from a heart attack in London.